Hello, everyone, and welcome to National Treasure Hunt, the podcast where the secret lies not only with Charlotte, but also with your co hosts. I'm Aubrey,
And I'm Emily.
and we are absolutely thrilled to be bringing you a special bonus interview in this off season between seasons 12 and 13 of our show. Are you guys excited? We're excited.
Imagine that. It's off season and we have bonus content. Who would have ever thought that this would happen?
It's one of those things where we just can't shut up. We can't turn the mics off, I guess. But anyway, we can't wait to introduce you to our guest today. It's a really, really fun conversation. But before we do that introduction, Emily is going to tell you where you can go to let us know how much you enjoyed listening today.
Yes. You can find us on both X and Instagram at NT Hunt Podcast, and we are also available at nthuntpodcast.com.
So, our guest today on National Treasure Hunt is really representing a continuation of this little celebration we've had going on in 2026 of National Treasure Edge of History. And this one is especially timely and important, let's say, because, you know, earlier this year, we talked to Lisette Olivera, aka Jess Valenzuela. Earlier this year, we talked to Jake Austin Walker, aka Liam Sadusky. And when you think of those two, if I told you to think of a third person related to Edge of History, I know you're thinking of Ethan, who was played by the actor Jordan Rodrigues, right? We got that love triangle going on.
Oh, the love triangle. I mean, it was part of the conversation no spoilers every episode that we recorded. So we had to complete it. I was
We
gonna
had
say
to
round it
complete
out,
it.
but that's not how a triangle works.
So, you guys, we are welcoming Jordan Rodrigues onto our show today. I remember meeting him at the Edge of History premiere. Um, it was really, really fun to chat with him in the moment. I remember him telling us about like his character bringing the voice of reason to the show, being a law student and everything like that. And to be honest, I feel like Ethan got a lot of criticism from the audience when watching Edge of History. So it was really, really fun to hear Jordan's perspective on all of that.
Yeah, I really, really want to re-examine Ethan as a character, I think.
How fun.
So hopefully y'all get that as well.
One thing you guys won't get to hear because we started chatting with Jordan before recording, before we pressed record on the episode, that I thought was really fun and wanted to share is he told us that before he even knew he got the audition for the part in Edge of History, he just so happened to be on the East Coast and visiting Philadelphia and DC, all these national treasure relevant landmarks. And so it kind of felt like kismet to him when he got that audition and then ultimately got the part of Ethan. So this is just to set the stage for the conversation. That's what we're going in with here today. Um, and I don't really want to make everyone wait too much longer. Should we give our little preview, and dive in?
Yeah. So Aubrey, can you tell our listeners one thing that they're gonna get from this episode?
Just one would be which cast member Jordan actually already knew before the show started.
Yes. You are also going to find out how that dance scene at the governor's gala came to be.
Spoiler alert, ends up being one of my favorite revelations from this interview. And last but certainly not least, you will hear what Jordan would have liked to see in a season 2, not just for his character, but also historical treasure wise.
It's a great one, y'all. Get ready to listen.
Please join us in welcoming Jordan Rodrigues to National Treasure Hunt. You know him as the longtime best friend, perhaps friend zoned best friend of Jess Valenzuela in National Treasure Edge of History. Jordan, welcome to National Treasure Hunt.
You're gonna do me like that, right off. I'm just kidding. No, it's totally valid. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you guys.
This is going to be really fun. And no, we had to introduce it that way because, Jess and Liam Lisette and Jake have joined us very recently on National Treasure Hunt. And so we're really excited to round out this triangle and get your perspectives on many things, not the least of which is that like relational dynamic. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into all of that.
Okay, cool. Before we get to the edge of history of it all, though, I mean, this is kind of funny because knew you as an actor for other shows that you did prior to Edge of History, specifically and especially Matt in The Fosters, by the way. Um,
Okay.
was a big fan of that show, but I'd love for our listeners who are maybe less familiar with your work and your background to get to know you a little better. So maybe tell us a bit about how you came to be an actor.
Okay, wow. Well, it started in a newspaper in Sydney. My mum saw an ad for an open call for the young Simbas and Nalas of the Lion King stage musical. And I was a big fan. She knew I loved singing and dancing around the house, and she was like, "Oh, it'd be a fun opportunity just to like go try something." I was like, I don't know, like, and she was like, "You'll get paid some money." I was like, sign me up. And I was like 10, or I was like 8 or something at the time, but not that it was like totally money motivated, but yeah, I was a kid. Like I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. So anyway, a bunch of rounds of auditions, open casting call, thousands of kids, and yeah, I landed the role of Simba at the age of 9, and did that for about 3 years of my first, couple of first years of my professional life, and that's sort of what started the ball rolling with acting, and also dancing, singing. So I joined a dance school that had all of those things, and that school had an agency as well. And then from there, I started doing commercials, and then from there, I booked my first TV acting job when I was 15. So I had to leave school. I started homeschooling, and that was a pretty big show. I'm not sure if you heard of it. It's called Home and Away. It's
Mhm.
it's sort of like the Bold and the Beautiful soap
Yeah.
opera, and did that for about a year and a half, and then moved on to my next job, which is Dance Academy. And then from there, did a couple of more projects in Australia, and then I got what would you say, like picked up from some American managers in Australia. They brought me over to America, and that's when I started working in America, thankfully. And Foster's was actually one of my first jobs out here, and I mean,
Wow.
what a great first experience. We got to film on the Warner Brothers lot, and I was working with really amazing actors and crew and directors and writers, and it was just a dream come true, really. And from there, yeah, I've done multiple projects. National Treasure being one of them. I did a film called Lady Bird. I got to work with Greta. Um, I did a show called Light as a Feather, and I've worked with, yeah, I've done a bunch of work out in the States, and I just am very lucky, yeah, I'm just super grateful for all the opportunities that I've had.
Different genres, different movie versus television. Do you have a like, what's your favorite at this point, if you don't mind me asking?
Favorite genre or favorite type of acting?
Either, both, whatever you wanted to give me.
Yeah. I mean, National Treasure was kind of the dream job, it's
Mm,
mystery, it's treasure hunting, but it's very light, and then it's very heavy at the same time.
yeah.
So we got to play around with the comedy, but we also got to play around with the drama and the high stakes of it all. Um, my favorite, I don't really have a favorite genre. I love doing it all. I love comedy and I love drama. Yeah.
That's a great answer. Um,
Yeah. I
honestly.
love when the well, and that's why I love National Treasure, because I love that they can go combine both, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of National Treasure, before you joined the cast of Edge of History, did you have any relationship with the National Treasure films? Like, had you watched them growing up or any awareness of them?
there was definitely an awareness of it. National Treasure is one of those, the one of those movies at Blockbuster that you would just see, and it was such a, striking image of
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, but we also it was such a popular movie in Australia, and it played all the time on free-to-air TV. So I would catch glimpses of it. I was maybe a bit too young to be following a story, but I just remember the images of how epic the sets were and how much fun they were having on set. But that's pretty much my knowledge of the films prior to the
Nice.
show. Yeah. Yeah.
So, getting to the very start of your Edge of History journey, if you will,
Mhm.
I wanna know how you landed the role of Ethan. You said this was sort of a dream role in many ways. What appealed to you about the part? What do you remember about your audition experience? Any of that fun stuff.
Wow, okay. So, um, what do I remember? I remember okay, I was in New York, Catskills, when I got the audition. I was filming a movie in New York, which dream come true. Um, and I remember taping it with my friend who was also doing the movie, and I just remember seeing, National Treasure. This is going to be a great. It's obviously such a great IP, um, treasure hunting, action adventure. Like, what's not to love, right? And I remember reading the sides, and I really remember how well the character just sort of felt very comfortable on me, which doesn't happen very often. Not a good sign of that is usually when it's really hard to get the words down. You keep messing up, fluffing up the takes because the dialogue isn't rolling off the tongue. And I just remember like I did maybe 3, 4 takes of this one, and I just felt really comfortable, felt really good. The writing was so well done. And I remember just like editing that, sending it off to my agents and just being like, wow, that felt good. That felt like I feel like I have a really good shot at this. And lo and behold, maybe like a month later, I
Sure.
got a call back and they wanted to see me for I think it was chemistry reads with
Okay.
Lisette. So it happened quite quickly. I remember that. Yeah. And another fun memory was Lisette actually reached out. I think she followed me on Instagram. She DM'd me. It was like, "Hi, I know who you are. I know you're actually we're gonna chemistry read for Jess and Ethan." And I was like, "Wow, this is a true number one." She's taking initiative.
Yeah.
She's reaching out, and she actually wanted to do some rehearsals and like just to like practice,
Wow.
which never happens. I've
Yeah.
never it's happened once or twice with a couple of people, maybe after I've booked the role, but before I've even booked the role, it's like, that's really unheard of. So I just remember being, admiring her for that, and, we got on Zoom or whatever we were doing at the FaceTime or something, and we rehearsed it. We got to know each other a little bit, and that was just the most amazing thing because I just when we got to the actual, chemistry read, I felt so comfortable, and I felt like I'd known Jess for my entire life,
Mhm.
which obviously is is an amazing thing. Um, so I thought that went pretty well. It was over Zoom, which is I was getting used to that at the time as well. Like, I think a lot of actors
Yeah.
were like, "Well, how do you emote and connect and have chemistry with a camera and a screen?" Like, it's quite a challenge. Um, but I thought it went really well, and I was anxiously waiting to see, like usually after chemistry reads, you kinda know if you've they kinda know if you've got it or not.
Sure.
Um So I waited maybe like a week or 2, and then they were like, um, "We need to do another chemistry read." I was like, "Oh, okay. Alright. What's the notes?" And I think one of the
Yeah.
notes was like, "We need." I think the notes was kind of like, "We need more boy next door," or, something along those lines, and I was like, "Alright, I'll try and implement that note." So we got on another Zoom. It was just Veronica Rooney and Lisette, and we, worked through it. Veronica was also very lovely, also was working with me, and, we did, like, another amazing chemistry read. I wait another week anxiously to hear, um, and they asked me to do another chemistry read. So 3
Oh
chemistry
gosh.
reads. Yeah, but this one was actually gonna be in person, and I think we shot it
Mm,
at the Disney Studios in LA. So I just wrapped this job. I was actually filming another job. I had actually moved on to another job whilst this has all happened, and I was shooting in Utah on a film called We're All Gonna Die, and yeah, that the whole cast and crew could even tell you how, like, weird I was on that set because I was just, like, waiting for the phone call. But I'd wrapped that film, had a lovely time, and then flew back to LA, and we did an in-person chemistry read with Lisette, and Veronica, and I was just like, "That's gotta be it. Come on, like,
yeah.
give me the role." Like, um, and then I waited another week, and they told me I got the job.
What a whirlwind. Oh
What?
my
Yeah.
gosh. But
All up,
you
it was
know
like
the
about a month or 2 of auditioning. Yeah.
Did they ever give you feedback about why they needed, like,
funny.
3 different versions of it?
No, I don't know. I guess they were a bit unsure, about the chemistry, and the only way I can, really decipher that is that it's really hard to chemistry read over Zoom. So once we got in person, I think that really solidified. There's an energy in the room. There's something you can't really recreate over Zoom, which I know the frustration with every actor is like it's very hard to connect. But it is possible. I just think they needed to see, even if it's the touch of the shoulder or like just the eye contact, and the eye
Yeah,
lines and all of that. It really makes a big difference. So I think that's what definitely pushed me over the line. But I also think Veronica and Lisette were rooting for me, and that would like they were giving me a lot of confidence going into that.
that's
So
cool.
yeah,
The The funny thing to me is I had not thought before until this very conversation that you would also need to chemistry read with Lizette. I think about Jake, right? Because of the outcome in the show. But no, I didn't think of that. So, wait, did you get the impression throughout filming, or at least even in the beginning of this process, that they didn't know who she was going to end up with in, like, the character was going to end up with in the show?
yes, yes. The words, love triangle were being thrown around a lot.
Mm, okay.
So I was
Okay.
very curious as to how they were going to do that and which route they would take. Um, obviously we have, I mean, Ethan and Jess have a huge, long running history, and we've known each other since we were kids. Um, so there's kind of like this family dynamic versus this new hot guy. So there was a lot to play with there, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was definitely unfolding as I was reading the scripts.
Sure, sure.
I mean, okay, I feel like this is gonna really inform the conversation regarding what we've heard from Lizette and Jake about who Jess would end up with and stuff, but I have to ask you first. You mentioned that Lizette reached out to you, like, prior to your audition. So, technically, you knew her before you started filming the show, I guess. Did you know any of your other Edge of History castmates prior to, like, booking the
I
role?
only knew Jake. And Jake was just he was a friend through different friend groups. He was uh I just remember him being this very energetic man who would always come up to me and say hi and good to see you. And like, he would always remember me whenever I'd show up to his like friends' things. And I was just like, this guy's a really sweet man. I just remember him being the nicest man when I would go to these parties, and I was just like, oh man, I feel like we'll be friends one day. And lo and behold, we got to work together. So once once I got the call that I got the job, Lisette immediately put me into the group text because I was actually one of the last to join the group. And
Really?
yeah, and I remember Jake just reaching out and being like, "Congrats, buddy! Like, can't wait to work with you." And everybody being so lovely and welcoming, and the chemistry that you saw on screen was real. Like that was a legit family, like from the get go, and that's also really rare. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so just Jake, but got to be really
okay.
good close with Zuri and Antonio, and yeah, they're just family now.
That is so cool. All right, let's keep this train going then. Let's talk behind the scenes memories, whether, when cameras were down or even when you guys were filming. Are there particularly funny moments or, anything that sticks out to you that our audience might like to learn about? I mean, they love as niche as it gets. Whatever you want them to know, they will eat up.
Mm, wow. I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard like how wonderful the cast are at singing, like Antonio, Zuri, like Lisette and Jake, obviously, because he sings in the show. I do sing as well. I'm not like those guys, but man, we were all just doing like 5-part harmonies. We would sing in musicals, Hamilton, like in between takes, and it was just this magical thing that allowed us to connect in between the setups and the scenes and keep the energy on set. Like, I don't think it just fueled the cast, but I think it fueled the whole crew. And man, we yeah, like I said, we were very tight knit, and we were actually very tight knit with the crew as well. So after a day of filming, most of the time, not most of the time, but like a lot of the time, we would go to the bar afterwards and we would chat and we'd watch the NBA playoffs and just decompress from the day. But I mean, every day was just there was a new joke, there was a new inside thing. Um, we also got to explore New Orleans a lot because we were only just an hour away. And New Orleans is such a vibrant city full of music and artistry, and that was a really cool place for us to bond as well. Um, Apart from that, yeah, it's hard to recall like all of the inside jokes, to be honest.
Course, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, so, the other thing I think of when I think of this show is because of the cadence of how the story was progressing, I think of, like, there's the whole Graceland bit, there's the wake, there's the gala at the mansion, there's the Devil's Swamp. They're, like, these discrete moments, and I wonder if any of them come to mind either for being particularly challenging to film or something crazy happening that day. Like, we've heard Jake's story about the guitar shattering and all of that crazy stuff, but, like, does
Like the
anything come to mind for
hurricane.
Yeah, yeah, all of
Yeah,
that. Anything
what a
come to mind
hurricane.
for you?
No, I mean, the filming in the swamp was quite a challenge because it was so hot. We were shooting in like June, May or something, and it was swampy. Like everybody was swampy. I always say like that was real sweat that you saw on our faces. It wasn't just us like running through the forest. It was like real sweat. But I also just distinctly remember these huge, like, I don't know if they were locusts or crickets or something, but they were these huge black crickets that were just everywhere, like in the cast chairs and on the cameras, all over the crew. And that plus sweat was just, it could be a version of hell on earth for someone, but it was very
Was it
challenging. It
for
was very,
you,
very
Jordan?
No, I'm a professional. I was fine.
Dude, you're from Australia. You've seen bigger bugs, I'm sure.
I've seen
Like,
That's
bigger
true.
things, bigger, more dangerous things. Yeah. Whenever people, say like, "Oh, Australia's got, the big scary insects and bugs," I'm like, so does the South. Like, so does Mississippi and you know, Florida. Like, you guys have some crazy things out there that can kill you. And you guys are just treating alligators like puppy dogs, and I don't know. I just feel like it's you're feeding it with I'm not even gonna get into that. Not even gonna get into it. Yeah,
Emily,
no.
I am so excited for you to clip that for social media, just saying, because that just, oh my God, so funny.
You guys got some wild things out here.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
something that was wild, to maybe viewers, in watching Edge of History was, Ethan and Jess's dance from the Governor's Gala.
Yes.
What do you
Yeah, right.
remember about learning and filming the
Hmm.
dance?
That feels like that would be challenging.
Yeah, so, okay, let me take you back. Um, Lisette was actually a fan of this show I did in Australia called Dance Academy. She had watched that show, and I think that's also part of the reason I booked the job. Maybe. Maybe. But the Wibs found out that I was a dancer, and they're just like, "Well, we have to write it in. We have to give him something to do." Which just between us, like, it happens a lot in some TV shows. They find out I'm a dancer and they just put in a dance number in it. So the dance
Love
was
it.
never like, "Oh yeah, just so you know, you're gonna be dancing in the gala episode." It kind of happened like maybe the episode before, and they found out and they just put it in. Um, so they asked me, "Is it okay if we write this dance scene?" I was like, "Absolutely, sure, of course." Like, you guys just tell me what to do. I'm gonna do it. Uh, and once we got to the gala episode, I was like, "Okay, how's this gonna go down?" Like, um, so they got us a choreographer and we did a couple of rehearsals in between Lisette's very busy schedule. So I remember she was, filming one thing and she had to get transported over to the rehearsal studio where we actually rehearsed in the studio in the gala place that we were actually going to shoot it. So it wasn't a
Cool.
big surprise on the day. But Lisette was a dancer as well, so she she's a pro. She just picked it up really easy, and I think we only did maybe like 2 or 3 rehearsals with the choreographer. Um, we actually, choreographed the dance together, so it wasn't the choreographer just coming in and telling us what to do. We all get to sort of just workshop and see what fit, the vibe and how we could implement the history of Jess and Ethan into this dance, because obviously it was a dance that we did it wasn't for prom. We did it for a competition, I'm pretty sure, and then we busted
Okay.
it out
Yeah.
at prom as well.
Yeah.
Um, so just trying to implement us being kids and us, um, what we would have done as kids as well. And I remember I wanted to implement the moonwalk because
Mm.
I, as Jordan, am a big Michael fan. I grew up on
Nice.
Michael, and he was kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to be a performer in the first place. And so, yeah, I wanted to sprinkle a little bit of that in because also I think Ethan would have been, a Jackson fan.
I could see that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So what else happened? I mean, we did the 3 rehearsals. We're really happy. We showed the director. They loved it. And then, yeah, we shot it. And it was, I mean, it was very exhilarating just to be dancing again in front of a ton of people.
Yeah.
Uh, and, um, I remember it was actually quite challenging. It was very, very hard. We were sweating. We had fans on us in between in the takes, but I think it turned out really beautifully. Um, yeah, I I I had a good time.
And no small part of that is because you both are so talented as dancers. That worked out really well. I thought Edge of History really did showcase a lot of talents of the actors, whether it's like, Jake singing and then the
Yeah.
dancing here and whatnot, which I think is just is cool, whether it was intentional or a happy accident in the end. But what I really enjoyed you talking about is how the dance, it's more than just a plot point for to progress the story. It is getting us into the backstory of Ethan and Jess and their dynamic a little bit. So I do want to talk a little bit about Ethan as a character and as a person
Yeah.
based on your understanding of him. One of the questions I always like to ask our guests is if you're given any backstory about the character that we don't get to see on the show, either to inform your performance or it was something that was left on the cutting room floor. And then also if you create any backstory for yourself. So
Mm.
so does anything come to mind in terms of Ethan backstory that we would like to know about?
Backstory. Um, Off the top of my head, I remember the character description was Jess's long time best friend, grew up together, um, and he was sort of this uh like a protector of sorts and someone who cared really deeply for her and would you know would be a protector but also kind of overprotecting because of her immigration status and all of those things. So what I had to do as an actor, I actually wrote sort of like a journal, like a history journal between my Ethan and Jess. That was just something I always like to do with with characters. If I'm not given the full picture, if I have to sort of do a bit more work, and this is sort of before I met the Wibbs, and they gave me more detail. But what I came to the conclusion is like we grew up together. Um, I thought this is so embarrassing, but I think I wrote down like this is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, ever, and and because of her mum being our maid, but also my tutor, um, there was a closeness there, and there was just a lot of visualization of like, sometimes Manuela would have to bring Jess to the house just to hang out because they probably can't afford a babysitter, they can't afford like someone to look after, so she's just there, she's hanging out, and obviously, with my family, it was totally okay. Um, so I had to visualize like what our first interactions were, what we would do in like that was fun together. Just all
Right.
that childlike playness that we would have to do. Um, so it was a lot of journaling. It was just like a lot of visualizing and creating story for myself. And then once I got to Baton Rouge, where we were shooting, I wanted to get Lisette from her, again from her busy schedule, and just I think we just had a coffee and we were talking about like I was given 50 questions that we can just ask each other, and we can just sort of create something on the spot, create some sort of history together, and I remember that was like really beneficial because we had to shoot maybe a week later, and uh, I just wanted the connection to feel so deeply rooted that we didn't have to play it. We didn't have to like
Mm.
make it seem like there was a history. Just we could just live in it, and it can just be in a look or when you're so close with someone you don't have to say anything. You can just give them a
Yep.
look and they just know. That's what I wanted to create, and I think that's what Lisette wanted to as well. Um yeah, I don't know. It's always fun.
That's cool.
It's always a different process with every role and how much time you're given before stepping on the set. And that was the one for me. And yeah, it was fun. It was just fun, fun, fun. Yeah.
That is amazing. I mean, Aubrey mentioned we love to hear kind of the different processes that actors have, but I mean, thank you for sharing that because that is it's so deep, right, to go, that far into the backstory, that
Yeah, like, I
yeah,
mean, there's so many
it's really
times
cool.
we step on the set and you just booked the job right beforehand, and now you are lovers or, like, you're making out, and you're doing other intimate things, and it's just it's so strange what we have to do sometimes, but,
Yeah.
I was lucky that we had enough time to, develop, something really quite genuine, and, yeah.
You kind of alluded to this in talking about kind of the what you were told about Ethan as a character, and how he could be protective or maybe overprotective, when it
Right.
came to Jess, right? So Jess clearly knew that Ethan wasn't going to agree with a lot of her decisions in the timeline of the show, right? Which is why she hid the treasure hunt from him at the
Yep.
beginning.
Mm.
Having to play that role, how did you feel about Ethan's protectiveness when it came to Jess?
It's it's obviously not the most fun thing to play to be like the wet towel a little bit, the
Sure.
um the protectiveness, and obviously you find out later why he's so protective is because um of a status in the US, and I was hoping that would sort of translate to um his actions, which I'm not sure if it did or not, but I think that's also just who he is as a character.
Hmm.
He's I think he's the kind of character that needs regiment and control, not necessarily over other people, but of himself. He's studying to be a lawyer. That's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
I think he wants excellence for himself. I think he is a very high achiever, and sometimes that can um, come across as very intense and very yeah, controlling. So when it came to Jess, there's obviously a love there, and not wanting to lose that thing, and he
Mhm.
was gonna do whatever he could to control that. Um, and obviously it comes in a place of there's that scene with Jake and I where he says like I'm not going to tell a woman what to do, and it's very true, and I think that's a form of love as well. um but I think as an actor, as Jordan, I'm like, it's not fun to play the controlling one. It's not fun to be
Yeah.
the character that's telling someone else what to do. Um, because me as Jordan, I want to be part of the treasure hunt. I
Of
want to be a yes
course.
man. I want to be like, I want to be in on the action. So yeah, it sucked, but he sort of made his bed with that one a little bit. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, sh because of the history and because of how she knew I was gonna react, I thought it was totally valid. Um, but, at the end of the day, I just want her to be safe. I want her to stay alive, and yeah, and and I don't wanna lose her either. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that answered your question, but
No, yeah, it definitely did.
And it also contributes too to seeing their relationship and their friendship progress even through the 10 episode arc, right? Because he goes from so adamantly anti to ultimately coming around and helping Jess in the treasure hunt. And frankly, we talked to Antonio many moons ago, back I think when the show was either still airing or had just finished airing. But we had asked him about the fact that his character almost does a bit of the opposite, where he's all gung ho, and there's a point at which it's too much for him, and he sort of reverts a little bit and
yeah.
hesitates, whereas your character kind of does the exact opposite. So So yeah, I always found that difference kind of interesting because based on who we see Ethan as in the beginning, you wouldn't expect him to like be like, "All right, yeah, let's break the law. Let's get you out of this mess that once you have gotten into it. I'm here waiting in the wings to get your legal stuff ready, et cetera, et cetera." So, yeah, I guess like I suppose if I ask you why do you think Ethan ultimately came around to help her, it's because of that love and that long-standing relationship. But I don't know. I number one, do you agree that's the reason why? But number two, how does that legal background that Ethan has really contribute to his ability to help her in this hunt in a way that none of her other friends can really do?
Yeah, like with the legal stuff, he was still at school. He was still learning. He wasn't like a
Yeah.
certified attorney yet. But he still has knowledge, and he's still gonna do what he can with his knowledge.
Mhm.
And I think, like you said, he comes around. I think it's episode 3 where he sees the video of her mom and dad, and he just sees how much it means to her. And this is big. This is bigger than the treasure. It's actually to you see it in her heart that she needs to do this for, not to join the FBI, not to unlock the treasure, but to really like find herself. And I think I see that in that moment, and I'm like, okay, you need to do this. And I'm I'm not going to be able to stop you. No one's going to be able to stop you. The only thing I can do is help you and support you. And so that's a huge moment. Letting go of control for Ethan was a massive moment. Uh, and yeah, like not fighting it. So I think, that's it's a big moment for both of them and their relationship. Yeah.
A massive moment also that I don't think Ethan gets enough credit for from the viewing audience, if I'm being honest, based on, like, when we were watching people's reactions as the show was airing. I personally didn't think he got the credit he deserved in that regard, but
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, I we got to get into it. The love
Let's get it.
triangle of it all.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, be honest. Were you team Ethan or team Liam in the quest for Jess's heart?
I was very team Ethan. That's my job. That is it's
Mhm.
That is
it's me or nothing. No. But, and that's the headspace you gotta put yourself in. But, in hindsight, team Liam all the way. All
Really?
the way.
Okay.
Yes, I do think that. Um, reflecting on the show and seeing, not only Jake and Lisette's chemistry, which is so, like, so beautiful and tender, um, they have so much in common, not just the treasure, but the family involvement. Um, uh, he speaks Spanish. Like, come on, like,
Yeah, it's hard to top that. Yeah.
the there is I mean, their chemistry on screen was palpable. It was but I really, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they have a really great connection and a love. And I will also say,
Yeah.
like, even when we're in the treasure room at the end, and Tasha asks me, like, "Are you okay?" There was a moment, and I'm not sure if that came across, but he Ethan says, "Yeah, I'm good. Like, I'm okay." And I think he has that moment too, and I think it also correlates to the final form of him letting go and letting Jess go. And I also think that's maybe the highest form of love that someone can give someone.
I just got
I think
chills.
it too.
same. That was
I really
that
do.
was beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I mean, that's kind of what was going on in my head. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, that's how it was written. Um, and I'll give a little exclusive right now, which is that
Ooh.
the Wibs did say that Ethan will be Endgame. How true that may have played out over the how many seasons we did, I don't know. But they did say that at one point, and we and that would have been interesting to explore, obviously. But at that time, at that
Yeah.
moment, at the peak of the season, I think, letting Jess go and being loved by Liam was just so much bigger than
Yeah.
himself. Yeah.
So I have two reactions to that. Number one was that Jake did say that he was under the impression that a different love interest would have been brought in for Liam. Jake said that a different love interest would be brought in for Liam in the second season, or at least he was under that impression. So that would have been interesting, not only to see where and when Jess and Liam's relationship fell apart. We actually have a whole podcast episode from our most recent season where we were analyzing the social media posts in the end credits from episode 10. I don't know if you've
Yes.
watched them
I did see
closely.
one of them. I did see the Ethan one.
Okay. Well, okay, sorry. I'm going to go on a tangent and then get us back. But did you know that Ethan became like a Supreme Court clerk?
Yes. Yes, that was in
Crazy.
in the credits, in the script as well.
Not okay, very
Wow.
cool. So the reason I bring that up is because we actually came to the conclusion from watching the structure of all of those posts that Jess and Liam were no longer together. Just from that. And that was because they were not in any of the posts together, whereas Tasha and Oren were in a bunch of posts together. And
Different
Jess is
locations.
yeah, exactly. Jess went to Princeton, and Liam is shown, pursuing his music career. So it would have been really interesting to see whether, if we had started a second season, do we watch that relationship fall apart, or do we walk in almost National Treasure 2 style where the relationship has already dissolved and we're seeing the aftermath of that? So I
Both
guess
would have been
I
great.
guess right? I feel like that would have
One
been
redemption for
fascinating.
Ethan. Like, now I really want to see it.
Man. Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know. I don't know what we would have explored or where we would have picked up from. Um, but I know the Wibs would have wanted that our love for each other to still be like there, like in the background at least. Um, just to give it a bit more attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I love the idea of Jess and Ethan ending up together, but I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if we explored enough of their history and the love for each other, because there was so much
Yeah.
craziness going
Yeah.
on. People were dying. You know what I mean? That's a lot to
That has
take in.
Yes.
that has come up in every interview we have done about Edge of History. They've been like, "Yeah, did you notice how many people got killed off of this show?" And we're like, "Yeah, substantially more than the movies, actually."
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like
I
dark.
mean, somebody got stabbed with a sword. You know what I mean?
Yes, and frankly, one of my favorite moments of the whole show was the Salazar reveal. But we don't I actually, yeah, why not? What was your impression of the Salazar reveal? I'm
Oh,
jumping all over now.
I mean, it made so much sense, and I thought it was well executed by the Wibs. I'm sure. I don't even know if Armando knew the entire time, and he just kept it from. Actually, oh, I think he did. I think we talked about it
Yeah,
afterwards.
he's
He's like,
shared
yeah,
that with
He
us.
told us he
he didn't,
knew.
and he didn't tell us. Oh, and I was impressed. Honestly, he kept that secret well,
Truly.
and obviously it played into the character as well. But huge reveal. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah.
So where I was going to go, I'll get us back on track here. I just love that moment
Okay.
so much that whenever it
Yeah.
naturally comes up, I have to talk about it. But, one of the things when we talk about, frankly, that scene and where it happens, and we talked about the swamp scene earlier, and we're talking about relationships here. I would love to hear your thoughts on the Ethan-Liam dynamic by the end of the show, right? The two corners of that triangle. It seems like they have to work together so explicitly in the Devil's Swamp scenes. There is that moment of peace that you said that Ethan has, but then if I think forward, because we're going to do, as we start wrapping up, we're going to future cast a little bit about what we would have liked to see in a second season. If Jess and Liam had broken up and now Ethan's in the picture, how do you feel about that Liam Ethan dynamic, either at the end of the show or moving forward?
It was so fun. I mean, obviously, I love Jake and love working with him. He's just a hoot to work with on set. So there was yeah, we joked about, like, the whole cast and crew would joke about our bromance, like, on and off set. So it seemed fitting, like, what are we doing? Fighting over a girl? Like, let's hang out. Let's grab a beer. There was a lot of that talk, and I think I
Love
love
it.
that dynamic. You know, the hatred and, like, the all that didn't last very long. Um, but so once once the mission was to help protect Jess at all costs, I'm gonna work with the guy who's doing that as well. He's on my team. He's
Mm-hmm.
on my side. So, we had to squash the beef quite quickly. Where would we have gone afterwards? I don't know. I don't know. We're such different kind of characters. Like, he's the music rock star, um, and I'm like the lawyer type. I don't know where we would have like met in the middle.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, again, I don't know. That would have been fun to explore as well. Yeah.
What else would you have liked to see explored in a second season had you gotten it, whether it was a specific treasure or a location, United States or internationally, or a history that you're particularly interested in? What would you have liked to see go down?
Oh, well, I remember all the cast were speculating, like, what would a season two be? And um selfishly, I would have loved to explore, like, Chinese history. Um like, that's a very, very long, they have a very long history, so it would have been so deep and so cool to explore that, and maybe explore a bit more of Ethan's character, and him finding himself through this treasure. I
Mm.
did. I mean, I towards the end of the season, I saw one of the producers carrying actually a Chinese history book, and it had multiple, like, heaps of sticky notes in it. So they were going through it. They were going through. I was like, that's interesting. That would be really, really cool.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I think there's obviously so much history in the US, but yeah, selfishly, I would have liked to do maybe some Chinese history. Yeah.
I think that would have been really, really cool and also makes some sense to me because we have been told by the Wibbs and some others that there was like a California gold rushy angle that
Yes.
they had been exploring. And there is substantial history tying various Asian communities to the gold rush and California. So I think that would have been a really natural fit and perhaps why they were researching it.
Actually, I love that. Yeah, I love that idea. The gold rush era. There would have just been so much secrecy, and um, you know, there would have been so much to explore there for sure. That's a great idea. Come on, season two,
Thank
pick
you.
up. Let's go.
I
Seriously. I mean, you never, we'll never say never, I guess.
Say
yeah.
never. Yeah.
Obviously, like, we're all sad that there wasn't a season 2, but we know that your life as an actor doesn't end right at the end of Edge of History. So what have you been up to since the show wrapped?
I'll be honest, not much. I've just been trying to, work on my craft. The one thing I can say is that I've been doing a lot of motion capture work. I've been working on a video game. which also involves PCAP, which is face performance as well. So I can't say what that is. Very strict NDA. I don't know how big of the game, and it's such a strict NDA that I actually don't know the full story. I'm actually just like
Oh.
one of the parts. Like I think it will be a 3-chapter game, and it will explore 3 different storylines, and I will just be one of the main characters in that storyline. And I'll just hint that there's like it involves zombies, but that's it.
Cool.
So yeah, that's been a bucket list dream for me, is to work in motion capture. I love, Planet of the Apes and Lord of the Rings, and I love the creature work that they all do on that.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can do a little bit more of that. Yeah.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, we'll keep an eye out for when that becomes more publicly available. I'm sure our audience will be really interested in learning more. But for now, Jordan, before we fully wrap up here, we do have to subject you to our classic National Treasure Hunt speed round. So basically, I'm going to ask you a couple quick hit questions. First thing that comes to mind for you is what we want to hear. Are you
Take
ready
the
to
show.
play?
I just gotta,
Okay, got to get ready.
Oh,
gotta I don't want
gotta
to
prep.
overheat, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're ready to play.
ready.
Excellent. First question. If you could play the role of any other character in the entire National Treasure universe, who would you pick?
Oren. Do I go into it, or do I
Ooh.
just say Oren? I mean, he's just, no one can do what Antonio did. Let me just say that first. No one. But that was such a fun role, and he got so many fun, like, scenes to play, like the dance in the kitchen, and he just had so many brilliant moments, but that's because Antonio is brilliant.
Dude, there's a horse was one of my favorite
Mm.
lines of the whole show.
Yes, that was one of my favorite shows as well.
So funny.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
actually like a whole ongoing joke with the whole crew and cast. Yeah,
who knew?
you didn't know
All
that?
I
Yeah,
know, no.
like Antonio got everybody like keychains for wrap gifts, and it said "There's a horse." That's how funny it was. It was. No, I'm glad you picked up on that.
Sounds like him,
100%.
to be honest. Like, I could totally
Yeah.
see him doing that. But
Yeah.
I could see him making up that line, frankly, like as the
Mhm.
reaction, the character's reaction in the moment. But no, I feel validated in you saying that because I always mention, dude, there's a horse, and people are just like, okay, throwaway, like funny line, but it's not significant to the plot. I'm like, I don't care. I laughed so hard, and I laugh every time I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, next speed round question: what is your favorite quote, set, or location? I'm going to give you some options here from
Okay.
the show.
Favorite quote, set, or location. Um. I mean, there's so many brilliant sets and quotes. I mean, yeah, Antonio turned every line into gold, essentially. Um, locate. I mean, I know I was like, the swamps were like hellish, but it also made me feel like a real actor. Like I was out in the fields, like doing and actually, yeah, I love being outdoors, and I love just being in this sort of like high stakes environment with everybody. So I like the swamps. That's a weird answer, but yeah, I like the swamps.
I'm
Sounds
I'm here
great.
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
How about this? I don't know if it'll be the same answer or a different one. If you could say what your all-time favorite scene to film from the show was. Was it the dance? Was it the swamp? Was it something we haven't talked about?
Loved shooting all the Graceland stuff, and the costumes, and I mean, we just had so much fun with that. I remember we were just cracking up as soon as we put the costumes on. We had a ball, and just playing a character within a character was like a lot of fun for me. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I see that. All right, this next one is a callback to the movies, but it's not like a right or wrong answer. It's just your personal opinion, Jordan. How many lemons is the appropriate number of lemons to keep in your refrigerator?
I see. An appropriate amount of lemons, I would say, this is such a lame answer. 3.
Why is that lame? It sounds very well thought out, frankly.
It's very Ethan. It's very functional. It's very practical. Just enough to keep, you know, just so
Enough.
you never run out.
I love it. All right. What
Tradition.
is one word that you would use to describe Agent Sadusky?
Legend.
And
Bloody legend.
okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. How about this? Favorite episode of Edge of History?
Well, yeah. One of my favorite episodes is episode 3, where we go to Graceland. Due to the characters, and it was the stakes weren't that high that at that point, so we were just kind of having fun before people
Mhm.
die. And you understand the seriousness of it all, but so yeah, I think that really was like it was fun for us as a cast to we're actually doing this. We're gonna go on this treasure hunt, and we're gonna have fun with it until
Awesome.
it gets really serious. Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, well then, last speed round question for you. I'm gonna go full movie mode. National Treasure or National Treasure 2 Book of Secrets?
National treasure. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
You passed. Congratulations.
Yes. Well done.
Do I get a medal?
Okay.
For sure. For sure. We'll
Okay.
ship it right out.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, nailed
We'll
that.
put some lemons on it and everything. Horse, maybe.
3,
We got
3.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
3. Okay, so I always get to ask this last question, Jordan. What is one message that you have for National Treasure fans that are listening to this conversation?
Oh, okay. Hmm. Work hard, don't give up, keep going. I feel like if we're gonna correlate it back to the show, like there was so many moments they could have stopped, and they could have just given up and been like, this we've gone too far,
Mhm.
but they didn't. They persisted, and I think that's a really beautiful message for people who are um, trying to accomplish something that's maybe never been done before, or that
Yeah.
they have never done before. Um, Stay true to yourself, work hard, keep persisting, keep going, and you never know what's on the other side. That's what I'll say.
Oh, yes, quite the
I think I
inspirational
needed to hear that.
send-off.
Yeah.
There you
That's,
go. We can give ourselves advice. We can also Ethan can be talking to Jordan, Jordan can be talking to Ethan, he can be talking to the
yeah.
National Treasureverse. But what I can say is that I'm so excited to share this conversation with our listeners, Jordan. Thank you so much for taking the time and for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me. This was lovely. This was really nice. Thank you so much.
Don't even know where to begin. That conversation, I learned so much, I laughed so much, and also I want to be his best friend.
Yeah. Like, you remember when we talked to, I was gonna say Oren, when we talked to Antonio and we left that conversation and we were both like, I just want to like be his
Yeah,
buddy. That is
totally.
exactly how I
100%.
feel about Jordan. He was
Yeah.
such a joy
Yeah.
to talk to, and I, I got a new respect, I think, for Ethan as a character. So
For sure. I mean, it's hard not to when you hear how much thought he put into it and frankly, how much he and Lisette as a unit put into kind of growing their friendship so that their characters' friendship could look so natural and long-standing. Um, not only a respect for Ethan as a character, but just a respect for the process, man. I really appreciated learning all of that. Did you have a favorite moment come to mind for you from the interview? What did you enjoy learning?
yeah, I actually enjoyed that. The amount of work that Jordan put into preparing his character's relationship. I mean, he wrote like a journal
Mhm.
basically for his character. And when he was talking about his character, you could tell that he was talking about like someone that he had embodied, that he
Yeah.
was still kind of connected to. And I just think that, we talk to so many different actors and get to hear their process, and you know, to to know that he put this much effort into
Mhm.
creating Ethan and into crafting what it looked like growing up with Jess and all that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. Like, I really want to go back and watch the show again, looking at Ethan, I think, through that
Yeah.
lens.
Oh, that's a really good idea. We should totally do that.
Yeah. Okay, so what about you?
I was genuinely like, I think I said this during the conversation. I had never thought about the need to chemistry read Lisette with Jordan before. I had only naturally thought of Lisette and Jake because of what we end up seeing in the show, but in retrospect it makes perfect sense that she also had to chemistry read with Jordan, and the fact that that was so important and they had to do it so many times really just screams and underscores the fact that the Whibs did not know who Jess was going to end up with, which is
Which is
interesting.
crazy,
Yeah.
because out of everyone that we've spoken to, the three people in the love triangle seem to have like the same kind of consensus. Those were not the vibes that I got from the show at all. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting. Like, I really, really, like I said, I want to go back and watch it again now because I
Mhm.
feel like I just wasn't paying close enough attention in like all the other stuff I was looking for.
And speaking of going back and watching again, I really want to go rewatch the dance scene at the governor's mansion again now,
Hmm.
knowing how that came together. I kind of love knowing that that was kind of thrown in because the Whibs learned about Jordan's dance background, because Lisette liked his show, um, the Dance Academy show. I think just again, really cool how we're showcasing so many talents in this dramatized series. So
Yeah.
this was so great, you guys. We hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. We just want to say thank you again to Jordan for joining us, kind of walking down memory lane. You are welcome back on our show literally anytime to talk about anything you would like.
Yes. And in the meantime, y'all, you can find us on both X and Instagram at NT Hunt Podcast. And please also do us a favor and subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, like, now is a great time
Mhm.
because I think we were all laughing a lot during this conversation. And if you didn't watch it on YouTube, you should definitely go back and do it because we were having fun.
For sure, for sure. And it's a good time for you to get subscribed before season 13 of National Treasure Hunt premieres in July of 2026. And we might even have another piece of content, another piece of bonus content coming your way before then. So just don't miss out, y'all. We don't want you to miss out. We're benevolent here.
I was
So
gonna say, who knows if we'll have more content, but I feel like the
sorry.
people might.
Might. I mean, 4th of July is coming up. That's kind of a big deal in 2026. It's very national treasury. I don't know. Maybe we'll have something coming out around then. You're just going to have to tune in
Maybe.
to find out. But until then, I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Emily.
And thank you so much for joining us on our National Treasure Hunt.